أنا بشكر حضراتكم وبنقل الكلمة للأستاذة منى هتكلمنا عن ملف الحقوق الاجتماعية والاقتصادية.
Thank you, Mr. Ayman, for introducing me and giving me the opportunity to deliver our study on the Egyptian government's efforts in fulfilling its commitments and voluntary pledges. Maat for Peace, Development and Human Rights Association made its report to the UPR studying through the thematic monitoring of the Egyptian government's action in regard to the supported recommendations. The study classified the thematic recommendations into 25 rights. The government has supported a total of 224 recommendations out of 321 during the second cycle. The top of the supported recommendations had included the ratification on the instruments of international instruments, and the women's rights are on the top of the list as mentioned. Also, Egypt noted a total of 97 recommendations. On top of the list was the abolishment of the death penalty and the ratification of the optional protocol to the Convention Against Torture, together with the withdrawal of reservations to the treaty bodies on Articles 21 and 22. It was the list of noted recommendations by the government for its incompatibility with the Egyptian constitution. In the first place comes the urge to combat violence against women and promoting women's rights. Although the Egyptian government has launched a national strategy to combat violence against women from 2015 to 2020, the national strategy included the protection of women from violence. However, the crimes of sexual violence have not stopped either in private or public sectors, including workplaces. According to the governmental statistics, about 500,000 women are subjected to violence every year, and only 7,000 women resort to the law to obtain their rights. On the other hand, the Parliament approved the law to the establishment of National Council for Women. Despite the new law doesn't give the Council all the powers advocated by the civil society organizations, it gives it broader and more independent powers in many respects. Thus, Maat Association encouraged the Egyptian government to intensify efforts and programs to eliminate all forms of violence against women, and to set programs to eliminate the sexual assault against women and children. As well, it encouraged the government to accede to the optional protocol to the Convention of the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, which recognizes the competence of the committee to receive and consider communications submitted by individuals or groups. In regard to the children's rights, Egypt has received a total of 15 recommendations related to the rights of child. In Egypt, there are more than 1.6 million children between the ages of 12 and 17 who are involved in child labor to get money for their families. Around 9 out of 10 children workers are involved in hazardous work, and 28% of children lives below poverty line. Maat for Peace encourages the Egyptian government to take legislative and procedural reforms to overcome the phenomenon of exploitation of children and to combat the phenomenon of street children, as well as to overcome the problem of child labor in hazardous work. In context with the other economical and social rights, Egypt has received a total of 7 supported recommendations related to the youth empowerment. Despite the intensive efforts done by the government in the recent years for youth empowerment through the World Forum, which is organized yearly in Sharm el-Sheikh, last year the forum included discussions on variable human rights in situations all over the world and concluded a number of recommendations. However, on the other side, there's still a large number of youth who are suffering from hard economic conditions. Recently, the rate of unemployment in Egypt reached 25.7%. Egypt also received 9 recommendations on the right of persons with disabilities. Through this, we urge the government to allocate budget for the persons with disabilities in order to make public spaces and facilities accessible for them. We see that the 2014 Constitution has allocated 4 articles for the rights of persons with disabilities. The right to education and health care. Egypt received 5 recommendations on this issue. In 2018, Egypt launched a campaign targeting 50 million Egyptian citizens to combat virus C. This campaign looks forward to make Egypt free of virus C by 2020. The right to water and sanitation. The Egyptian constitution doesn't contain explicit provisions regarding the right to citizens to access to drinking water and sanitation services, but this right is implicitly granted in Article 18 of the Constitution through the health care and Article 78 for the right to housing and face problem of slums. The state faces difficulties in covering all areas deprived of basic services, including drinking water, due to many reasons, including the limited budget. But it tries to reach some poor areas in cooperation with some organizations. In August 2018, a project for sanitation in Luxor included delivery of water to deprived areas in the province, and many companies followed the installation of home links to several centers and the city of Armat. The right to economic development. Egypt received a total of 11 recommendations and accepted them all. The Articles 236 of the Constitution stipulated that the state shall ensure the development and implementation of a plan for economic development and comprehensive urbanization of the border and deprived areas, including Upper Egypt, Sinai, Matruh, and Nova areas. Article 238 also provided for the objectives of tax system, which centered on achieving economic development. However, the annual inflation rates in Egypt have fallen to 17.5% from 31.8% in 2017, with inflation prediction to fall to 12.5% in 2019. There is still a rise in the prices of some commodities, as well as the rise in the electricity and fuel prices. Finally, in regard to the social corporate responsibility, Egypt has received 4 recommendations in the context of the issue, which has been accepted as well. Articles 36 of the Constitution stated that the state shall encourage the private sector to perform its social responsibility in the service of national economy and society. In this context, Egyptian government has adopted a strategy to promote corporate social responsibility, and the Federation of Industries has established a social responsibility unit to support corporate initiatives related to the community development at all levels of sustainable development and support of the neediest. Now I have to leave the floor to Mr. Ayman to complete with the